So this is the scene I'm going to paint. That's the entrance to the old town of Vence, and on the left here we've got the Victoire Hotel and Restaurant, and on the right Henry's Bar. And that big famous old tree in the middle there. Bit of roadworks going on which I'll totally ignore. Nice sunny day and nice and warm for the middle of November. Here's my canvas. Painting it in oil, and I'm not going to draw it, it's not going to be that accurate. I'm just going to, sketch on a few bits and pieces here. Working with the light, of course, dark and light, so just put in a few dark. The first thing is to establish is the composition, so I'm just putting in a few dark areas which will give me the volume, the size of those areas that I'm looking at and the position of them, and then I can work out from that. So that is that dark tree area in the middle of the two restaurants and the two bars. And then follow the gutter line up to, that defines that side, and I can see proportionately how it looks. Those windows, of course, have to be in perspective, so, just putting those in as a guideline. Nothing is very serious, obviously, at this stage. I just want to get a feel for how this composition will start to look, and at this stage it could easily be moved around. Really worried if it's precisely in proportion or accurate. I'm doing this very, very spontaneously, no measuring at all, just diving in and using intuition and spontaneous judgment to put it all together. And this blue is a bit too violet, so then I'm putting in a warmer blue, mix it with lots of white, perhaps a little bit of ochre or something to warm it through and get that nice deep blue sky that we've got today. Excellent. It's good to be able to see these shapes as just shapes and not sort of think of them as buildings or sky or trees, just shapes, because then you don't really worry whether you're looking at a negative shape, a negative space, that is the space between two objects, say, or the object itself. You're just filling out spaces, and much better to have some judgment, to have that judgment of being able to just see negative or positive space equally, because they have equal importance. And if you, for example, windows and the areas between windows, if you only paint the windows, if you're only looking at them thinking, right, here's a window, here's a window, it's quite easy to end up with not enough space between the windows, and the windows become too big. So you could paint windows just as easily by painting all the space around them. And that is what I'm doing now. Just paint, I'm not doing windows, but you just paint all the spaces. Whatever it might be, you're just looking for spaces, dark spaces, light spaces, cool, warm, whatever it might be, red, blue, whatever the space is, you're just looking for it, filling it out, and that defines the composition, the shape of your composition. And there should be a focus in there, somewhere where your eye is going to, and there should be a mood that you're starting to connect to, so you feel like that you know what you're trying to pull out of this thing. Because if you just paint aimlessly, like, okay, work my way through the buildings and all of that. Then you can't expect the picture to have any feeling. If you want a picture to have feeling, you've got to be feeling something when you paint it. So at this stage, I am really trying to not see detail and not worry about exact proportions and exact detail and exact how many windows and all of that. I'm just trying to feel, what am I trying to do with this picture? And as I do that, I just let the brush go around. Occasionally I apply my mind to it and think, okay, I better just work this bit out a bit carefully. But on the whole, I'm just going around, letting it just happen, so that you know, it can just be nice and just a feeling sort of picture. If something jumps out when you put it on and you don't think it's going to look right, obviously you soften it back, but I try not to overwork, you know, spend too long judging things, because, you know, you might say, oh, I've done that too red or too dark or too light, but you don't really know until you see a lot more of the picture working together. So it's better to just keep moving, and then when it's really, you know, you've got a lot of paint on there and a lot of things going on, then you can look at it and say, oh, hang on a minute, this bit here is far too dark or light, or too strong in colour or too soft in colour, you know. Then you can start to judge things. And you've got soft edges and sharp edges, and then you sort of fix that, and then you're looking at the mood. Now there's a lot of people in this picture which I haven't put in yet, but I've just put a few brush strokes where they are at the bottom here. And I've got to start to at least give the suggestion of some people in there. You know, it's not much, but I've got to build that in. The way because the mood of this is a busy street. There's cars and people walking by all the time. You cannot stand in front of this scene without feeling that, the energy and life of people and movement. So that's got to come into the picture at some point. Well, I think that's about it for today. So, yeah, I think I'll be back out here to have another look at it tomorrow.